First, one of the things that we wanted to start out with was one of our main routes was to lock that guy on a hitch. Take this guy on what we would call a chop route. So if he gets man coverage, we're locked here. He's got all this grass out here to run. Take number 3 and put him on a juke route. So the juke route is he's running the juke route. If it's split safety, it's great because he's on the Mike linebacker. And if the linebacker overplays him, he looks him in the eye and he beats him across his face. If he stays inside, he runs the return, he turns back out. If he gets depth, he sits. Okay, and then we've got a chop route over here, and then we've got the locked hitch over here. Okay, so we would call that Haas, whatever this guy was, the Z, Haas Z juke, the Y, Haas Y juke, whoever that guy is, we're tagging a juke route runner. So that's one route. Again, post safety, you're working away from the safety, working the chop hitch combination away from the safety. Split safety, you're working the juke route. Okay, another one. This is, and again, most of these routes are quick throws. Now I know you'll say the chop route, but look, if you're throwing the chop route versus press, you're catching that gun snap, you're 3 and gather and you're letting it go. So most of these routes are quick routes. You're not really throwing a bunch of deep routes and empty. That's not really the goal of empty. The goal, you could have some things if you're trying to change up a little bit that you want to get the ball down the field, but ultimately you're not throwing the ball down the field in empty too much. Okay. All right. Another one. This is one of our favorites. We would call this Haas. So Haas is a hitch that does convert versus press or 2. This is a seam read. So if it's post safety, he's going to stay in the divider. If it's split safety, he's going to take it thin. Okay, this is what we call Haas X follow. So before I draw this guy, I'm going to come over here and draw this. Okay, so this was a very good route for us over the years. It's a right to left read. Okay, again, some of the things that you got to think about here, you're trying to eliminate some things based on the look. If you get straight cover 2, you're working strong return, and then you're working in cut, weak return. So if you like your matchup on the strong return on the Mike linebacker, you take it right now. Otherwise, you're working backside versus cover 2. All right. If you get cover 1 and you like your seam because maybe they're playing cover 1 where they sloop it and the corner's middling, then you can hit that seam, read it out, hitch to your seam, no problem. You think about that. But really, it's very rare that you're hitting the hitch seam combination. You're basically working return, in cut. Okay, the seam and the hitch, we hit those at times, but more so we're concentrating here. One thing I do want to tell you about empty. When you're talking about empty, I want you guys to know like where you should put guys. The guys that you really want to feature, usually your quicker guys, some of them might be quicker than fast. Just talking about empty, should be here at number 2 weak, here at number 3 strong, and here at number 2 strong. That's where you should feature your quicker guys. Now, once in a while, over the years, not once in a while, probably more than once in a while, but over the years, like for some of the guys that I've coached, the tight end would go here, right? So you guys probably remember, like in New England, Gronkowski went there, Welker went here, Edelman went here, or a back, put a running back there. Your good route runner was over here at number 1 week because he had different routes that he would run. And maybe your donkey, not donkey, but somebody that you really weren't going to throw to was out here at number 1 strong. Okay, so just, think about where you're putting people. And I think that's a big part of it too. Okay, all right, now, another route. Okay, this was a good route for us in Houston. All right, again, we're not doing a whole lot of this in Alabama, but I just thought for this clinic it was good to talk to you guys about empty. I just think it's good for high school football. I really do. So this was what we called Tog Tulane. So basically, like, we're going to run another chop route here. We're going to lock that hitch right there at 6. okay, we're gonna run a stick route right here, anywhere from 6 to 8, okay? And then here, we're gonna run Tulane. Well, the nickname for this was Tito's. Tito's was the word, and we gave a lot of these code words, these so we could go faster out of one formation. Okay, so basically with Tito's, we're letting this guy get up the field based on leverage. You know, again, if it's cover 2, he's probably breaking in. If it's cover 1, he's got to see the leverage and read how they're playing it. This guy's going to delay release, slide shuffle, let the on the line player get off the ball, get up in his vapor trail, and he's breaking in or out based on leverage too. You love this over here versus 1. You love this versus 0 if you want to gap it and keep this on over here. Just won us a game one time in Kansas City. This route right here won us a game. All right, so you've got different things that you want over here. This right here, look, if you get 3 deep, this isn't great right here. 3 deep, you got a chance at your stick route, possibly your locked hitch out there if they're slooping and trying to play the divider on it. Again, if you get press man and they're pressing number 2 and you like your matchup on the chop route, you take the chop route if you want it, okay? But that's another good one that we ran that was pretty good. All right, another one that we ran route wise and empty, okay, was a route called Special Illinois. Okay, so Special Illinois. Okay, here's what we're talking about. This route, so most of the routes that I've drawn up, you could run versus man or zone. This,
one of the guys asked, how do you coach your chop route?
okay, I'll get to that in 1 second. I'll come back to the chop route 1 second. But just on my train of thought here, this was for man. So we would want this versus man. And one thing I haven't talked about is the indicators, like where are you putting people, right? If you put a back, let's say you put a back out here, right? And a linebacker goes out with them, then it's man. If you put a back out there and a safety goes out with them, then you might be getting pressure because they want to keep the box intact, okay? If you put a back out there and the corner just bumps out with them, okay, then you're getting zone. So, and it includes the tight end. Where are you putting the tight ends? Where are you putting your running backs and tight ends so that you can indicate to your quarterback what you're getting, okay? Man or zone. So this is for man. All right, so we would call this basically Special Illinois. So Illinois was a fast under, shallow, no deeper than 5 yards, okay? All right, and then this was an in cut that was anywhere from 12 to 15. All right, and then basically the tight end, he was stair stepping and he was over the top. So he's at 6 trying to create a little bit of a rub there. Right, and that was a big part of it too. And then special, again, we would lock this hitch and run the chop route. That's why I waited to answer the chop route. On the chop route, okay, again, if the chop route, if you're getting too high or zone, like I wouldn't even coach it against that. Like I would just tell them to run a seam, like brotherhood route, like get out of the way. You want the chop route versus man. So let's just drop a couple different things of man here. Let's say, for instance, which is rare, let's just use the star. Let's say the star pressed him with outside leverage. This guy needs to attack his outside leverage, get this star to widen. He may have to dip back inside, but then he's stacking him back to the outside. And remember, he's got all of this grass out here to throw it. So anytime you run a chop route, you want to lock that hitch outside of it so that this guy can run an inside fade. And the ball should be thrown basically in a position where it's over his outside shoulder, where he can adjust to the ball with all that grass. So he's catching it like this. If the ball's inside there, he's catching it like this. So that's versus press. Let's say we get a lot of, we run, everybody runs chop routes now.